The sparkling blue waters of Crystal Lake have long been at the heart of summer memories, cherished by outdoor enthusiasts, lakefront property owners, and vacationers. But if you traveled back far enough in time, say to 1873, your memories of Crystal Lake would look entirely different. In place of restaurants and cottages, you'd find marshy bogs covered in wet grass and teeming with wildlife. The charming hotels and bed and breakfasts we know today would give way to a smattering of rugged, modest cabins belonging to early settlers. And the lake itself? It stood significantly higher, 12 feet higher than it does today. Everything changed because of one man, Archibald Jones. The impact Archibald made on Crystal Lake set in motion a transformation that turned misfortune into momentum. What followed was the rise of a thriving community, one that over a century later continues to draw visitors from near and far. Today, the complex history of Crystal Lake is kept alive by historians and enthusiasts alike.
In 1872, Archibald Jones, his wife Sophia, and his adult children and some of their own children came to Benzonia to make a new start. Benzonia was a young town at that time. The surrounding area was still largely unsettled. And the main goal for a lot of business people was either farming or in some way being able to tap into this great stand of original forest. The reason the forest was important and the lumber was important was not just because of events like the Chicago Fire, which produced large demands for lumber, but it was also to be able to supply logs for the iron smelting industry. In South Frankfort, there was an iron foundry, and the iron foundry required up to 100 cords of wood a day to be able to supply it with enough wood to create charcoal to smelt iron. To be able to really tap that resource, someone needed to figure out how to get the logs into the water and down the water to Lake Michigan.
In late August of 1873, Crystal Lake covered nearly 2,000 more surface acres than it does today. Its surface lay 39 feet above Lake Michigan, like a big bathtub atop a hill. Mr. Jones conceived the idea of opening a canal connecting Crystal Lake and the Betsy River to allow boats from Lake Michigan and Frankfort to travel up the river and into Crystal Lake. Described as a man of boundless energy and enthusiasm, Jones shared his vision widely and successfully convinced others of its promise. Soon, the Benzie County River Improvement Company was formed.
He talked all the powers that be in Benzonia and probably Frankfort too, to buy stock. The stock certificates were $25 a share, and it was to buy some property on Crystal Lake, so they had a place to establish their foothold so that they could build a boat.
What I like in this certificate is this steamboat, which shows the actual dream of building a boat or series of boats that would have been able to navigate the channel.
And here's Jones' signature.
Archibald Jones had experience with canals, and that was something that was relatively new in the 19th century. And with his, what they called bootstrap engineering skills, he understood what the dynamics would be of building canal boats and building dams and locks to be able to control the flow of water. All of the work that was done at the outlet was done with local labor, primarily clearing the land on both sides of the channel that was between Crystal Lake and the main Betsy River. And then they were going to straighten it out and deepen it. There's a relatively short distance but it was all choked with trees and logs and certainly not navigable.
Plans were falling into place. Crews were hired, and the work began. Everything seemed to be going well for Archibald and the improvement company. However, nature is unpredictable, and things quickly took an unexpected turn. On the morning of August 23, 1873, a fierce storm drove white-capped waves over the temporary dam at the outlet. When the barrier gave way, a torrent surged downstream. In a matter of hours, the lake lost nearly a quarter of its volume, its surface dropping 17 feet. Though the precise figures remain debated, the scale of the loss was undeniable.
Whitecaps brought more water toward the dam. It was probably insufficient to control the amount of water that was actually going to come out of the lake, and there was a major washout.
A lot of water flowed very, very quickly. In fact, it is said that you could hear it 5 miles away up here in town. And lots of the townspeople got their buggies and headed that direction, trying to figure out what was going on.
An estimated 56 billion gallons of water rushed out of Crystal Lake, inundating the entire Betsy River Valley, washing away crops and farmland in the process. One newspaper reported a group of 3 boys getting stranded on a small island after they decided to float a makeshift raft. Incredibly, the washout did not result in any immediate fatalities. The Crystal Lake event was determined to be the largest inundation from an inland lake due to a man-made cause in U.S. history. This record held for 147 years until exceeded by the Tittabawassee River event near Midland, Michigan in 2020.
It took about 2 weeks for it to actually drop down to its new natural level, leaving giant sandbars, and a massive amount of beach was exposed.
Crystal Lake went down 17 feet, and all of a sudden there was a shoreline. Lots of rocks. There was a report that said that the shoreline was hard enough to race a horse on.
On the Sunday afternoon following the lowering of the lake, a steamboat named Onward left Frankfort and carefully made its way to the enlarged outlet, embarking on a once-in-a-lifetime journey filled with fresh sights and a spirit of discovery.
They had a grand time cruising Crystal Lake, and they stopped along the way and picked up dignitaries. And I guess there were quite a few people on the boat.
The boat made it up into Crystal Lake. There was enough water flow at that time. They made a trip all the way around Crystal Lake. That was the first steamboat to ever be on Crystal Lake. And it turned out to be kind of the last at that time, because as the water went down, the channel began to narrow, the river got much shallower, and it began to be apparent that this was going to be a challenge.
There would be no heavily traveled canal linking the area to Lake Michigan. Crystal Lake was now much lower, and the short-lived waterway was reduced to only a stream. With the canal considered a failure, the Benzie County River Improvement Company faced bankruptcy after having to navigate financial and legal issues. Stockholders wanted a return on investment, workers demanded wages, and creditors wanted payment of their contracts for services and goods delivered. Among those owed money was John Torrance, who had ordered machinery and customized iron parts from Ohio. Torrance had also arranged for a boat builder to assemble the vessel along the Betsy River. The not yet finished boat was part of the Benzie County River Improvement Company's original investment in the project.
Well, there was a court case. Mr. Jones got in quite a bit of trouble because he could not pay John Torrance for his boat.
So there were some lawsuits to try to recover money, and they were eventually settled.
Several of the stockholders paid their debts with land.
Archibald Jones and his wife ended up moving back to Illinois, where he started a livery business and horse feed operation. His son turned their house into a hotel for a time. The house was kept in the family for generations.
One of the very first things that happened as a result of the lowering of Crystal Lake was, of course, this wonderful beach that was there and some land. And Western Union was contacted, and within a year of the lowering of Crystal Lake, the telegraph lines were set up to run from Frankfort through Benzonia to Traverse City.
With no need for grading, the area was an ideal location for development. This provided an obvious and lucrative opportunity for investors to build a railroad depot, establishing a right-of-way connection between Frankfort and Thompsonville. The depot's location helped facilitate the founding of the village of Beulah. The lake's unobstructed 21-mile beach offered an abundant supply of gravel for road construction. For the first few years after the lowering of Crystal Lake, the water levels were unpredictable. However, the construction of a concrete dam in 1911 allowed people to feel confident in building homes and businesses. Many entrepreneurs and visitors took note of the beautiful crystal clear lake, and a resort industry began to take shape. The following decade saw increased growth and popularity for a summer vacation destination. Archibald and his company had failed on canal building, but succeeded in opening up miles of new beachfront for future development. Archibald wouldn't live long enough to realize the unintended result of his effort. When he left Benzonia, he was disappointed, financially strained, and his project was viewed as a failure. Over time, the story of Archibald Jones being a blundering engineer became local lore. This perception was aided by a series of short stories written by William L. Case, a local businessman who, when in his teens, worked on Jones's crew. In the 1920s, his memories were published in a series of articles in the Benzie Record, decades after the events took place. These articles were later assembled in a booklet called The Tragedy of Crystal Lake. Later editions included a series of wood carvings depicting Archibald's path to failure. However, in recent years, public perceptions of Archibald and his long-term impact have started to shift.
People at the time, I think they felt that he was very foolish. Today, I think people see it much more differently. If it hadn't been for Jones, no telegraph, no railroad, and no Beulah.
Archibald's biggest enthusiast, Dr. Stacy Leroy Daniels, has dedicated much of his life to researching Archibald Jones and has felt compelled to help reshape the community's perception of the lowering of Crystal Lake. In 2015, Daniels published a book about the event titled The Comedy of Crystal Lake. He commissioned a new series of artistic works in the same woodblock style that was used in the Tragedy of Crystal Lake booklet.
Artist Glenn Wolfe created a series of images on woodblocks that tell this same story with a little bit of a different twist. With Stacy's his vision of events, you have Archibald Jones smiling down and looking at his work and having a different kind of thought about it as something that maybe didn't turn out so bad after all.
Dr. Stacy Leroy Daniels has been known to dress as his favorite historical figure, even sporting a similar long gray beard and blowing a horn at annual celebrations. In 2024, Stacy Daniels and his wife, Carol Yvonne Daniels, donated funds to create the Archibald Jones Historical Research Center. Through their generosity and enthusiasm for local history, the story of Archibald Jones will be shared with others for generations to come.
a lot of this would look a lot different had it not been for a man who came to this area in 1873 and made a major impact.
Today, the legacy of Archibald Jones lives on in the resorts and villages of Benzie County, and in the lakes and rivers that make this region so beautiful. To learn more, visit our website at benziemuseum.org. Here you can find hours of operation, upcoming events, access to our online catalog, and other resources. To donate online or learn about other giving options, visit our support page. Your contributions now are more important than ever.